and it's contingency plans. So contingency plans are what you make just in case plan A doesn't go to plan. You need a plan B. What are you going to do in case something bad happens? So it's usually in response to a crisis. So crisis can be really, really varied, and they could be caused from internally, or they could be an external factor. So these very much are internal factors that cause a crisis. But recently we've seen kind of crises that happen with, I suppose, transportation. There was going to be a train strike a few weeks ago, but they called it off. But had there been a train strike, lots of businesses might have needed a contingency plan to deal with it. Especially kind of the companies and organisations that are in charge of the motorway network, and maybe AA or RAC or those kind of rescue services would have needed contingency plans, like banking on there maybe being more breakdowns that day. So they can occur, and a crisis could occur externally. It might not have been started by you, but it's going to affect you, or internally. So this links into Unit 3, so risks being quantifiable and unquantifiable. But contingency planning, which is basically planning now about how to deal with a crisis in the future. It's called contingency planning. And you'd go through some steps. You'd identify what could possibly go wrong and how it could affect the business. And you'd think about possible ways of dealing with each crisis and different methods. And then you'd settle on the best solution and draw up plans to show how the business should respond. And then you may even carry out practice exercises to familiarise staff with how this crisis could be dealt with. So a contingency plan, a really common contingency plan that every business does and your school or college will do, is a fire drill. That's a contingency plan. That's training people so that they know how to deal with the unfortunate scenario of having a fire in the building. But they will also have things like, backup servers to make sure that data can get back on track. They might have a special team that will, snap into action and be the ones that deal with crises as well. So you may even have, these aren't types of contingency funds, but these are some things to bear in mind. So you may even have contingency funds, these aren't types of contingency plan, I meant to say. You might have alternate suppliers just in case one of your suppliers goes down, and you might have a multi-skilled workforce as well to be able to shift their attention to the areas that most need it. So this is a past paper question that came up in 2012. Explain using suitable examples the reasons for and against the use of contingency planning. And this using suitable examples is really the key in Unit 4, making sure that you're bringing all your business knowledge together that you've gained over the 2 years. Because this is your last exam. Yay for A-levels, or oh boo if you've enjoyed the course. So you have to bring in lots of nice examples that are relevant. So let's have a look at the Mart Scheme. This is the typical way you'd lay out reasons for, reasons against. But here's the Mart Scheme. So businesses face risks, both quantifiable and unquantifiable. So candidates could be rewarded for giving suitable examples of these risks. Having a contingency plan, a business will be prepared for any eventuality that may occur. I would evaluate on that fact. I think there are some things that happen that have never happened before that you just couldn't have possibly planned for. And if they've happened before, it makes it easier to plan. But I think in this modern world, with the pace of technology, the way it is, I think there are some risks that happen that you don't know that are there, the unknown unknowns, as Donald Rumsfeld would say. But I think there are definitely things that you couldn't plan for. And it should save the business money in the long run, but it may be very expensive to carry out, and unexpected events may still occur since it's virtually impossible to plan for every possible outcome. So one thing that you have to think about is it worth it? So a contingency plan is going to be expensive to put together, and it's going to be time consuming. So think about if this risk does occur, will it be that damaging? Because if it's going to cost more to make a contingency plan, then maybe you're not going to want to do it. You also want to look at the likelihood of the risk occurring. So one of the risks that would be devastating for the planet would be, say, you know, an alien destroying planet Earth or something that you see in those kind of movies. And yeah, okay, the cost to the business would be astronomical. Maybe they wouldn't even mind by that point. But, you know, you could think of kind of other risks happening as well. So maybe, I don't know, to be honest, it's really hard to think of one, because all of them that I'm thinking of now, they have quite, not high likelihood, but they have a good enough likelihood that you would want to plan for them. But you'd think of something ridiculous that would be very harmful for the business, but the likelihood of that happening is very, very small. And then you have to think about the cost of creating a contingency plan as well, to evaluate whether it is useful. So some of the examples I was thinking about before is, you know, you could think about maybe a terrorist attack, but I'm not saying that that's, you know, really likely to happen, but there's always a bit of a chance in the modern world that we live in that there will be a terrorist attack, and it's not a silly thing for businesses to do, to kind of contingency plan and maybe reduce some of the risks associated with it. So having proper security, and maybe having kind of backup servers and people to deal with problems if they occur. So I don't think that, although the likelihood of it occurring would be quite small, I think that's quite sensible for any business to do. It might be something ridiculous like every single server going down at the same time, and although that would be really devastating for the business, if your servers, and you've got storage servers in kind of different countries and different external businesses like doing your data backups for you, then the likelihood of them all going down at the same time is really, really slim. And also, if they all go down at the same time, it's likely that it's like a worldwide problem, so that maybe everybody's network's gone down at the same time as well. So non-ideal, really costly, but very small likelihood of it occurring, and everyone would face it anyway, and maybe there's no way of getting around that problem, so you wouldn't necessarily contingency plan. The problem, you know, a more likely and a more realistic risk would be your server going down, and that's why people have backup servers and they have external companies that store data for them and do backups every 24 hours, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's contingency plans. Not been up for a while, so make sure you have a look over that.